Before we begin, everybody, sponsor mentions Packfiller online store. Get to packfiller.com today. Check out the fun swag we have to show your Packfiller pride. I've been busy. I've been getting some orders in, so just know that yours truly is filling the orders by hand. So if something's off a little bit, just let me know. Mugs, shirts, caps, kits, all kinds of fun and a good dose of tongue-in-cheek. Packfiller.com. Scratch Labs, you guys. Technically, I got 2 plugs for fueling options here tonight. First of all, is Scratch Labs. Great variety, options, and even do-it-yourself recipe to get you topped off and keep things going the distance. You will not go wrong with Scratch. Trust us. And lastly, but not leastly, Untapped Energy, pure Vermont maple syrup, the core ingredient. Genuine clean fuel is the result. Multiple flavors and multiple strengths. Use the link and you will not regret it. From espresso flavor to give you the jolt you need to smooth, citrus, and even raspberry. You will not know you're fueling. You'll just think you're getting a great snack, like a reward with benefits. Okay, last show of 2023. So let's do this. Got the old man cleaning out phlegm in the background. And you notice the silence of the other microphones. You kids these days.
I know. Can't rely on them.
No, they're flaky shit.
I got this appointment. I think I broke a toenail.
Nobody told me life would be difficult.
Yeah.
I can't make it.
My work-life cycling balance is not...
I need some me time.
Yeah.
We already have. Get ready. It's Tuesday and the Rim Break Bar is open. The beers are poured and the cameras are live on the website and on YouTube. Let's play bikes. Start the Packfiller Cycling Podcast. If you remember the Muppets, you remember the old guys in the balcony. Well, that's what we've got tonight. So get ready for some 80s references and complaints, more complaints about those damn kids these days. I'm Pat Bulger, and with me is the return of Mr. Paul Main, or Flu Boy, as he should now forever be known. As he's Scotty, he's still not feeling...
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, Merry Christmas, man.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. Sorry I missed the show.
Yeah, well, how are you?
I'm much better. It's, it's a bad one. Spokane, I don't know, I think the state of Washington's been hit pretty bad with the flu, and yeah, my wife got it, and that's the first time. I've known her for 30 years, and that's the first time I've ever seen her sick, and she was in bed for 4 days.
Oh, my God.
She didn't eat for 2. I didn't eat for like 2 days either.
Just barely moving around.
The beauty of it all, I lost 5 pounds.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Perks.
Yeah. But I didn't feel like drinking. Yeah.
The only person who lost weight over the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, it was me.
Oh, my God. I was going to ask you about the recent bout with the Grim Reaper, but was it just kind of weakness and...
Absolutely fatigued. I slept crazy-wise. It was all respiratory congestion, postnasal drip, so I had a sore throat.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and then, it's just... And then I had a little relapse because I thought I was feeling pretty good. Went back to work on last Thursday, and I woke up and I'm like, oh man, I'm back.
Yeah,
because I got hit on Sunday. Saturday I could feel it coming. I was on my trainer. Only made it 30 minutes into an hour, 15-minute session. It was the last 50 kilometers of Flanders, and I thought, I feel a little tired. I just since Renee's sick, I'll just downplay it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get out of bed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I could get out of bed, but I was back into bed. Wednesday, stayed home from work, got around a little bit. Thursday, went to work, came home, just went straight to bed. Friday, was lucky I got up, finished work, and went straight to bed. And I slept till Saturday. I think I was in bed by 3:30 and didn't wake up or get out of bed till 9 in the morning the next day.
Oh, shit. Is it stuff that? How was Christmas then? Were you able to?
Other things happened. My father-in-law in that meantime, he's 93, so he's had some difficult times. So my wife, being on the mend on the sickness, went and has been helping her mom for the last 4 days with him. So hopefully he'll turn around. But she's been spending the night over at at her mom and dad's place, and I stayed home by myself with my dog on Christmas.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
because I was
no.
still kind of sick, and I wasn't
Yeah.
going to go. I was supposed to go to my daughter's, so she had this 9x9 foil, container and stuff, and sent me home food. Yeah, this amount Dave dropped it by and stuff. So. Yeah.
Oh man.
But it was fine. I didn't feel like socializing. I was pretty tired yesterday. So.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just working on the live stream here today. Jax is not here, so everything's just shit box here.
God,
but
dang.
yeah,
Pat.
little punk little shit.
I know.
Just decides not to come, and he's just like, my dad just called me a punk little shit.
Well, I mean, you're tied up. I
destination.
know family obligations.
Okay. Yeah.
And he married into a Catholic family. So there's a plethora of siblings. There's always going to be a birthday. There's always going to be something going on,
Yeah, if it doesn't go live, I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to keep the show going. So, Mike, you were so all by yourself for Christmas. We had a good time. We hosted everybody here. Well, not everybody, 7 people.
Huh.
And
That's
and I'm really upset about my beef Wellington. I chose to experiment with the beef Wellington. First of all, experimenting with a large brand new recipe with the complexity of something like that is really fucking stupid.
Did it get dry?
I did overcook it.
Mm-hmm. It's easily done on that.
And I didn't trust myself. I actually had the thermometer in one of them. I had 2 of them,
Mm-hmm.
2-pounders. And I had the thermometer in one, and I was like, that thermometer is usually a little janky, so I'm going to let it go just another 10 minutes. The thermometer was right.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that it isn't just mushrooms, the texture of mushrooms that I don't like. It's just mushrooms. Because you put a mushroom paste over a beef tenderloin.
I know.
Along
It's
with,
good.
yeah. Really?
I love it.
It was like eating dirt. It was like a great piece of meat that you dropped in a mud puddle and just picked it up. And everybody
You didn't even brush it off. You just
just popped it in your mouth. And everybody was really cool about it. They were like, "Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good." Yeah, thanks.
Did you do a lot of
Full
like,
shit.
what's that over there? And then Bender and your new dog,
Yeah.
they're burping.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
should have.
yeah, they probably
But
just
no,
got-
they ate almost all of it, and I take it as a loss. I was not happy with it. I was pissed off, and it kind of ruined my night. And I have to admit, I don't know if you know this, but I tend to dwell on some things.
Yeah, I've noticed that a little bit.
Yeah, so I kept talking about it during dinner, and I think everybody at the table after a while was like going, Pat, shut up.
Uh-huh.
You got to let this go, man, because you're ruining Christmas for all of us. But,
If you don't shut up, I'm going to take the meat that I put in my pocket and throw it at you.
Exactly. So I don't know if I'll do that one again. But I had some people, my mother-in-law made a very strange comment at the dinner table about how good she liked the meat, and I was like, she referred to it as orgasmic. Yeah.
Wow.
When you hear your mother-in-law say something
Yeah.
like that, it's
Did you
really
gag?
kind of changes the game. Yeah, I just kind of went. Everybody at the table, the needle came off the record, and everybody just went, "What?" And looked over at Grandmama, and I was like, "Oh, okay, wow."
Well, what was she drinking? Were you making your martinis that you gave my
No,
wife?
there were no martinis. There
Because
were
that
no
did it for
martinis.
her. Yeah, that was for sure that night.
But I should have had some. Did you get anything good?
No, we don't exchange
Really?
gifts. No,
You
we
what?
always never. Our birthdays are both in January, and it's close to Christmas. And we decided when we first got married, we weren't rich anyway, and it's like, why not just save the money for the kids? And then it became, let's save that money that we'd be spending and travel.
Oh wow.
So, and that's what we
Okay.
do. We travel. We put little bits of, if we have extra cash in our pocket, we have a metal box hidden somewhere in our place, and we dump money in, and every once in a while you look and it's like, wow, we got $3,000 in here.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's our
not
our
bad.
gift to each other.
Because I was at the point where, at the beginning, throughout the shows that we've been talking about, I've been finding really cool gifts and things like that. And, one of the things I was like, God, it'd be really cool to get one of those Wahoo fans. And then I look at the box fan and the other fan I have in the workout room. And I'm like going, is it really going to make that big of a difference? And then I always get to the point where I'm like going, I don't really know what I need. Because need. It's not need. Christmas gifts are not about need. Christmas gifts are about little silly things you like, And so I never know what to ask for. So I apparently am two things. I am a person who cooks a lot, and I potentially am a raging alcoholic. Because I got a lot of cooking and alcohol-based gifts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got knives, brand new knives.
Oh, can I ask the manufacturer?
Wusthof.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've got a couple of myself.
Yeah. My wife got me a kit with a new block and stuff like that, and they are very nice because our knives, I think we obtained when we were married. And I have a sharpener, so I sharpen them. But it was like, okay, I got a Park tool, one of those pizza cutters that looks like a penny farthing. I got a bread maker. I think my wife wants me to make her bread.
Well, there you go.
I got a bar set. I think my wife wants me to make the cocktails. And I got Bicycle logo cocktail glasses, which I don't drink out of cocktail glasses. So if I'm drinking a beer, I drink out of beer glass. If I drink bourbon, I'm drinking out of a little those little
jiggers.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called.
Eyeballs.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a little.
I'll keep
tiny,
trying.
Yeah. Oh God, it'll come to me. But Sam needs to be here. And so these are cool because they have a bicycle etched onto them, and they're really cool. But I'm like, so my wife wants me to make her old fashions, and so I understand, honey. I get it. So in other words, get in the kitchen, make me a drink, and fix dinner.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
You haven't been riding.
No, that, like I said, the 16th was the last time I did any form of exercise.
Oh, shit.
And that's when it was probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on that Saturday, and crawled off going, whew, I don't feel so good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, no.
I have been getting some training in, all on Roovy, which I really wish they were a sponsor because I keep mentioning them all the freaking time. You mentioned the last 50K of Flanders. I love the real world footage. Yeah, it has some flaws. There are times when you could tell this was shot from a car because sometimes the car passing you is just like going really slowly by, when you're climbing or something like that, or if you're me. But all the rides around the world, and do you ride at 100%?
Oh yeah.
So I've noticed the 100% is harder than 100% on Zwift. It is noticeably harder. So I will admit, on some days I'll pop it down to like 85, 89%, and it's much more tolerable. But
what courses have you done?
I have done, and I wrote this down. I did Strada Bianca. Those hills
I can't wait to try that.
Are brutal.
Oh,
you never realize how much up and down that course is. I did Flanders Fields. I have done Paris-Roubaix. And I realized that I romanticized all the classics, the courses of the classics. And you think of Flanders Fields, and I just have these images in my head. And then you go out and ride, quote unquote. You're first personing these roads. They're shitty farm roads, really shitty farm roads,
especially Roubaix.
Yeah, and to all of you gravel bike owners, stop it, because these guys have been riding roads that many here in the States would be like, oh, that's gravel, man, spirit of gravel. It's like these are classics that people have been on, fully rigid bikes with 19 tires,
then, 1923s at the most,
and a 53-17 probably at the most, flying over these roads. So I was just blown away with that. And then yesterday, Christmas Day, I was like, shit, there's a ride in this beautiful area around Vietnam. And so I wrote it, and it's like, God, that's really kind of cool. It's really the footage is awesome. I love it. Now, the races I've noticed are all obviously based in Europe time because, I'd like to do a race. And they're all like starts in 12 hours, starts in 14 hours, starts in 18 hours. And you're like, yeah,
middle of the night for you.
Yeah. So, because it must not be that big of a platform here in the States. But it looks fun. I'm liking it. I'm liking it.
Speaking of the courses, I've done everything that that appeals to me. I want to do Strada Bianca, but the first one I had to do is the one at Gerardsbergen, which is the Muir.
Oh,
and it starts off. I believe this is the one. You go like flat till you hit the Koppenberg, and that hits a 22% gradient. That's the one that people fall over and have to walk. And I'm like not even warmed up. I thought, I'll just check it. And I was buried. And of course, I run a 53.25, and I'm thinking, you know what? For the first time
on your trainer,
on my trainer, and I'm like, oh God, it was just killing me. And I made it over. My heart was just pegged at the top, and then rode through, and then I started recognizing some of the climbs like the Eckenberg and Terberg. And the Patersburg is in there, the Quaremont, and these are all the Flanders ones. But the one that goes to Gerardsbergen, which is the Capelle Muir, the famous one that I love.
Yeah.
In fact, have a tattoo on my shoulder of it, and been there, and stuff. It's just like iconic, and that's the last part of the ride, and you hit 20% at the wrong moment because you are flattened, and it's so weird because Dave and I walked up and down that hill in 2018 probably 5, 6, 7 times, and followed where the race would be and where would we do, at this point. And then I've watched it so many times. I knew exactly where I was and where I was going to turn the corner. I even saw where Dave and I parked. Yeah, we parked right there. And then I had to take a right turn to start doing the climb. And, God, and when I hit that thing, I'm thinking, how in the fuck did those guys do that? That one almost made me stop. I mean, it is... I encourage anybody to get, and that's not real. Of course, things would change a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Plus, your bike would be bouncing underneath you and all this kind of stuff. But I'm really enjoying. I rode the Avenue of the Giants in California, which is a drive that when we were going down to BWR, we drove along that road, and I was like yelling at my wife, "Come in here! Did we drive this road?" She's like, "Holy shit, yes, absolutely we did." It's just. It's a great format, and it's no video game.
Yeah, that I agree, and it's one of those things, especially if you've been there or you have something to relate to or curious about, saw it on TV, and now you're actually, supposedly riding this. Yeah. That's more connective to me than seeing 560 people like in a group and you're riding between them and you're Avatar's going, I mean, there's and butterflies.
And thumbs up are dropping from the sky, and there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah. Now, we're bashing the world's largest platform that also sponsors the Women's Tour de France.
Does great things.
So yeah, absolutely. I stumbled upon this platform, and if anybody who listens to the show knows somebody in the Ruvi organization, I'd love to kind of talk to them about how they obtained it, the way it's programmed. I think it'd be an interesting thing to talk about on the show. So I've enjoyed it, and I've been getting some footage on it. I mean, some rides in, and there we go. So now that you're back into training mode, are you?
No, I'm ready.
Yeah?
I mean, mentally I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go really easy because fatigue's still there. Going upstairs and stuff, I'm pretty tired.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of, okay, reset, start from...
Yeah, I'll just figure ground zero.
Yeah.
I'll do the Roubaix. It's fairly flat. It's still not easy, but it's still flat.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, before we get to the topic tonight, I need to let everybody know about the Beer Mile videos on YouTube. Jackson worked quite a bit on getting this all edited up and put together, and it is everything you would hope for in terms of, and I'm not talking about the video itself, but it is a train wreck. It is 4 people in a car or pounding 4 beers and riding, and I am in see-through white bib shorts and a neon jersey, and if you want to make fun of me at my expense, please, check it out. It's pretty funny. So it was a good time.
You protect yourself. You pulled the jersey down.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
Well, I pulled them on. I was upstairs, and I was getting dressed, and I was like going, oh yeah, here are the shorts. I of course didn't try them on beforehand. I was like, they're going to be fine. I got the logo on it and made the joke on the back and stuff like that, and then I pulled them on, and I was like, oh. Oh no. Oh, honey. And she came into the room. She's like, "Oh, I can see your junk." And I'm like, "Oh, oh God, no!"
You didn't say, "What do you think?" No.
No. Well, the look on her face kind of told me.
Yeah.
It was just like,
it wasn't going anywhere. Yeah. Oh God.
It's like I just ate a handful of mushrooms. So it was bad. Yeah. And so I was like, I got to do this. I lost the bet. I got to do it. So thank God the jersey was long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
for everyone. So,
yeah, absolutely. And all the wives were here. They're all sitting in the carport watching us do this, and I'm going, great.
Yeah.
Great. Hey, everybody! Before I come out, I want you to know.
Yeah.
My eyes are up here.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's get into the show and let's talk about the year in review. Here it is, the end of the year. Old Lang Syne, all that kind of shit. Let's talk about the year in review and the year ahead, both personal and in the larger world of cycling. Brought to us by nobody. Just because I don't want to give this to anybody. This is ours. This is two old guys sitting in a bar talking about how it was better in the old days. You know what I was going to, and before I forget, I do have to, you have to remind me, because the question I wanted to ask at the end of the show, I didn't write down, but the best classic and Grand Tour riders of the decades from 70, 80, 90, 01, and then 20s. We can think about it now, but so the year in review. So first of all, let's go personal and then go out to the larger. So what were your plans for 2023 in terms of cycling at January of 2022 into 2023? Well, December 2022 into 2023.
Oh, I had great plans. I was going to do that. What's the race that Jack started?
Oh yeah, Oh shit,
not Independence,
Banana Belt over there. Yeah.
God dang it.
Jack's gonna text us.
I know. We're gonna hear about it.
Yeah.
So do that early. My focus was Tour de Bloom drink. Yeah. And then get in shape. I was looking at possibilities, see if I could get in. I've always wanted to do this race, and that's Baker City.
Oh, yeah.
But it fell on a weekend that I knew it wasn't going to work. But I had RC3, and then I had my Masters Nationals.
That was a big one. That was the big event for the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then any Tuesday night or Thursday ended up being Thursday night races, too.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
That's quite a bit of racing.
Yeah, I guess considered what we used to do, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But granted, my age and responsibilities and realistically, financially, you just can't. You can't do it every weekend.
And I always set this goal for myself. I had 20 start lines as my objective. Notice I didn't say finish, but I did say start lines. I want to show up, and it's rare that I don't finish a race, but that was it. I wanted to do that. I wanted to, try and be competitive in. I wanted to, as Sam would say, I wanted to FSU. I wanted to fuck shit up. Be instrumental in the races, and I'll talk about that in terms of how I want to adjust for the year. But did you achieve your objectives?
No.
Well,
I made it to some races, but
yeah.
I mean, wherever I could.
Was it? We were talking about this before we went on the air. You had plans, and then life got in the way.
Yeah, life got in the way. So so it was in April when Vance Creek.
Thank you.
Vance Creek. Something that happened. There's a particular weekend, and also that was when my wife and I decided we're done with this house. We're going to find a condo.
Yeah.
So we were in the process of finding and working on the house to get it ready for sale. So I'll blow that one out.
Yeah.
And then things proceeded so fast that all of a sudden here comes Tour de Bloom.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really prepared, but I want to go do that race, but I can't because now we're really in the height of making, at that particular weekend, we were actually making a a deal on the condo that we ended up purchasing.
Okay.
Could not leave.
Yeah.
This is not the time to say, oh, I'll put everything on
You
hold.
can do it. You
Yeah,
can do it,
yeah,
honey.
yeah.
I'll just sign
Yeah.
when I get home.
House is listed.
Yeah.
Can't really leave because you know what you have to do, all that
Yeah.
crap. It's a pain in the butt. All right, I'll blow that one off. You know, it's for good reason. Then when you move into the new place and you move out of a place for 30 years,
Oh, shit.
and then you move into a new place that's 3/4 the size of your old place,
Yeah.
and then you got to figure out. Oh,
You gotta
shit,
pare
what are you
down.
gonna do with- which I'm thinking easy, but no.
Yeah.
So then that takes.
You know how I know that? Because I've watched tiny house shows.
See? There you go.
Documentaries. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. People are like,
I
"We're
was
taking all
prepared
this."
for it.
And the guy on the host show is like, no, you're not taking all that. No.
Nope.
Yeah. So anyway.
So then, I'm making a short story long, but by the time we got in and settled, the dog's kind of having a problem with it. The cat's freaking out, adjusting to the new neighbors, my work schedule. I had to take time off from work to work and blah, 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 blah. Good excuses, right? And so then we have RC3, and I've got a couple of training rides in on the weekend. I'm thinking easy. This is just going to launch me, although it's state championships. I'm just going to try and just, cram for the test. It went all right, but not ideal.
Well, and on top of that, I was there the moment that your bike just did a really casual, you're leaning up against the curb and the pedal slips a little bit.
Yeah, it was against my car, and the wind goes,
Yeah.
and
right
thinking,
onto the seat stay.
yeah. And I'm like,
Cracked it.
no big deal. Oh, I see a little hairline, and then you were there where I went. You could hear it
you were just like,
crackle.
oh, I think we're okay, and you just bent it. You just put a little pressure on it, and it was an audible.
Yeah, about 15 minutes before the start of my race. And I'm like, I got to find some tape.
That's
So
what
I
it
did.
was.
Yeah.
It held it.
It was painted. I mean, blue tape, in fact.
Yeah.
It's just blue tape.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to flex too much.
Oh, my God.
But there's not much stress on it. I know
Yeah.
building bikes and stuff, there really isn't much. But
What kind of a letter grade would you give your 2023 season goals versus meeting?
I would say I would give it a C because it wasn't like I didn't do my homework or didn't have. I had things come up.
Yeah.
Teacher,
Yeah.
you got to
It's not my
understand.
fault.
Yeah,
Kid.
Things happen, man.
Give me an extension.
Yeah, please give me an extension. You have no idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then of course, then the bike's down for 3 weeks trying to figure out. Then I still owe money to Jack, and I'm trying to figure out how to get him money for a frame that he purchased like earlier in that year. Wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I
It's
just
this
switched my
time of year.
parts over, but it's not that easy anymore, is it? So
No.
and then finally, by the time I got parts, I got 2 rides in, and then we were in Missoula, which was a highlight, even though I was terribly out of shape, but it was a ball. We had a good time.
Yeah. My 2023, I had pretty, my nice objectives. I was going to do all that. I was going to do the Wednesday night mountain bike race, which I love. Buddies of mine put that on. It's 2 months of every Wednesday just going out and bouncing around and a lot of fun like that. Our Twilight series is back. All that stuff I was really excited about. Then February, my heart just started bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
And that by end of February, early March, I was considering the fact that I would never be a competitive cyclist again. And so that was a gut bomb. That was pretty brutal.
I can't imagine.
And it was kind of an identity crisis to say, not to make it sound too melodramatic, but when you spend a majority of your life defining yourself by this specific activity, you look around this room, you look around this whole basement, if people ask me, tell me about yourself, cyclist is going to be one of the first things I say.
Yeah.
And to be able to stare down the fact that might not be the case, was brutal. And I was off the bike for probably 12 weeks. I would get on the trainer and try to ride Zwift in AFib, and 150 watts was the maximum you could press, before everything. And then I would get off the bike after maybe 30, 40 minutes of it, and I'd have to go to sleep. I was killed. So take care of yourselves, people. So anyways, but then I raced this summer. I got to play with you guys, and I got to go out for rides. Was I at my best? Hell no. But I got some great days in on the bike, and yes, I raced the second category in Missoula, but I pulled a bronze on the crit, which was probably one of my happiest days on the bike this year, just because it was like, several months before, this wasn't supposed to even be in the cards.
Exactly.
And,
well done.
Yeah, and it was it was great. So those were my lows and my highs. What would you like to do for 2024, Paul?
All right, I was going to set those things high again. Well, I'd still, if Vance Creek goes off, that would be kind of fun. Go see Jack.
Yeah.
Can't do. It's not going to happen for Tour de Bloom Drink.
Yep.
As much as I'd really love, I will revisit that race.
I would love to do it too. It's just
I love that crit.
Life and work.
That crit is right up my alley.
Really.
And the first stage race. I mean, first road race.
Yeah.
Up by Waterville. It's rolling, windy, everything that I like. But that's not going to happen. RC3, we'll see how the calendar unfolds. I thought, I'm hoping to go down to Palm Desert, see my buddy Stu.
Oh, you're going to do that?
I'd like to. We'll see how it plays out. Yep.
Yeah. And
go a little later, so I'm rolling. And I thought that I would do it like in first part of March, but I don't know if that's going to be feasible. Not this year. My wife's heading to Norway for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've got to kind of hold the fort down, and that takes up some of my vacation time. So
yeah.
But nevertheless, I thought about doing Ephrata like you guys, because you can do it on a road bike. And
you can.
Terry Prime, who's follower of the show, he says, best time is 28s on a road bike.
I did
That's
it.
The best.
I did it on my giant road bike.
That is a road bike. It's out of 88 miles, 32 of it is gravel. So and it's fairly kind of like our gravel roads around here.
It is,
which I like. I like those.
Yeah,
stuff.
it is. It is all rideable gravel.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could go a little bigger, like a 32.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a great tire for that. But I'm going to do that again. I'm definitely doing that again.
I'm going to ask you this: so that one ride went down towards I think Spring Canyon or something like that. That we climbed out of Valley Chapel Road and we hit that gravel section. There's David, you, me. I don't think Sam was there, and Jackson.
Sam said he was going to be there, and he paid. He paid to go, but he just
this is just a ride.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
So you remember that section of gravel?
I'm trying to remember.
We got it's really steep climb. All the young bucks were like hammering it up the hill. Sam was there.
Yeah, the Midnight Century section. Yeah. There are some sections that are going to be a little more primitive than that.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely some sections that are more primitive than that. But if I wouldn't, my biggest problem with that race was I flatted 4 times.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you figure out a way to fight that, beefier tires, beefier tubes.
What kind of tires were you running?
I was just running Contis,
mm-hmm.
My regular road tires.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it was the road sections. It was great.
Yeah.
But it's a good ride. It's a good race. So
I won't do it.
Oh, you said you were going to a couple minutes ago.
But I found out the date.
Oh.
It's April 7th. That's Paris-Roubaix. I am not going to. There's no way.
That is very true.
That is usually the holiest of cycling
There are people
days.
that are going to be down here on that day. And so, because I established a norm.
Go.
So maybe I'm not going to go. Damn it.
Yeah.
Are there any kind of changes in your preparation for the year or things like that? Mine, by the way, my objectives are I'm going to do the 20 start lines. I'm going back and I want a variety. I'm going to break it up a little bit. I'm going to do some gravel. I'm going to do all the road races that are around here. I can't do RC3 because it is the same weekend as my school's graduation, and as an educator, I have to go to the graduation. I can't miss that. So that's going to suck. That bummed me out. But I'm going to mix it up as much as I can. I would like to find a biggie like you had for nationals.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to. I think. and everybody who's listening, I think we can all agree, when you have something like that, a big circle on the calendar, that really helps keep things in perspective and motivation and excitement.
It's funny. It doesn't for me.
It doesn't really.
No, nope. That doesn't. That's not my drive. My drive is I want to do well in everything that I do. I mean, races, just the race itself. I don't care if I put my finger on, like, it was Ronde van Palouse.
Yeah.
Let's say that was it. If I put my finger on that, that's what drives me at that point in time.
Oh, okay.
Whether it was nationals or not. I mean, I had another. I swore I was going to write an article about this whole experience of doing nationals, and it did not turn out, obviously, by a lot of what I described, and the way the crit turned out when I was suffering as it was and got my wheel overlapped right when the winter attacked. Yeah. And we're doing 30 miles an hour, and I've got like 5 bike lengths to try and bridge, and it's not going to happen.
No.
I remember pulling off and going to my brother-in-law and my sister who were down there with me and said, "Fuck it, dude, let's go bowling." Any
gear changes? 20. You got
I don't
2
have
bikes.
Any.
No?
Yeah, I have 2 bikes. I can't afford. I was just looking, just daydreaming and stuff and looking what's out there, and it's like, the inevitable is coming. I have to have disc brakes. I mean, it's just, I can buy frames and stuff, but you start looking at, there's a few companies, Head still makes some rim brake stuff, but the whole idea of running tubulars is the brake surface is better. You don't have to worry about the sidewall wearing through because of the way it's. So it's like, oh man, and finding parts for my old parts is just going to get less and less. So no bikes.
I don't need to either, but I would love to swap out my gravel bike. My gravel bike's a wonderful bike. I really like it, but it's not a race design gravel bike. Mm-hmm. I really like kind of the more aggressive feel of
basically
like
a cross bike is what
yeah, basically. So but I doubt that's going to happen. It's probably not going to happen. I'd like a new helmet, maybe some new shoes, but everything's still fine. I've got 2 sets of giant shoes, and one of them's white, and they're the ones I love the most. They're starting to fade, and then the black ones are basically brand new in the box, so I might have to just go back to black shoes.
Well, you mentioned shoes. Mine aren't. I usually wait until I have to apply duct tape before I buy. It's because that's how cheap I am. But these are they're 7 years old. They never fit right, but I paid a lot of money for them. And so I felt like the old Steve Martin, and only you and I will get this, the cruel shoes. Razor blades hold your toes in unnatural positions. And I love CD, but these CDs have just been
really, So you're gonna do it?
One.
You might do. You think?
Yeah, I think if a big purchase outside of our kit.
The bow is a great change.
I didn't see, and that's
what
you
don't
I went
like
from.
it. Oh,
so
okay.
I went from the old Genius. You had Velcro over the toe, and the ratchet.
Yeah,
they were like slippers.
Yeah,
they're rigid, stiff with the. I never had high pressure points. This has, and I'm blaming. Maybe it's just that shoe design, but the bow is where I start cranking it down where I need to tighten it up. There's pressure points all over on this particular shoe.
Okay.
So I loosen it up, and then my foot's sliding in there, and my toe. I've even got a bruised toenail.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Lake might be one of those companies. Again, not a sponsor, but I hear Lake does a lot of really kind of high end measurements, and at least they also have different lasts for the shoes, so you can go wider, narrower, high arch, things like that. So I don't know. I was looking around their website, and they look pretty good. So, all right. Any personal lifestyle changes for 2024? For example, I'm going to work on my stress because I think that was what triggered my AFib. I'm going to work on, and I joke around about self-esteem kind of things like that. But I want to bring back a little bit more of the old school asshole. I don't want to be an asshole, but I want to be able to roll up to a line going, and I don't know if I'm ever going to find it again. I used to be able to roll up to a start line going, I'm here to win this race. And then I came up with a podcast name that's Packfiller, which is talking about mediocrity. So I got to work on that. I think that's something I gotta kind of try to find my way around. But that's where I'm gonna go. Yeah, you anything?
No, I mean, yeah, we've talked several times about motivation. To me, it's races, and if the race doesn't happen, I've got another race to look forward to, and that's all I need.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on your agenda, but God, I watched Cafe. That we talked about it before, the Cafe ride with Tade. That is he races.
If people
he
haven't watched,
rides so he can race.
Yeah.
I mean, racing is everything. He wants to accomplish. That is so refreshing, as opposed to everybody has these goals.
Yeah.
And I think, not that I'm even close to his caliber, but but that's how I felt. I mean, I really connected with that guy. I always thought he was a good guy, but I thought, that's me. To me, it's like racing. If I don't do well, it doesn't really bother me unless I get upset when I make stupid moves, when I'm thinking, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Or I could have done this, But that's a short-term thing, and it's never about other races, or I try not to make excuses. So that's my motivation. I love racing my bike, and I look forward to whatever. And hopefully Missoula, too. I'd like to revisit that.
We got to go back to
a
that.
different category.
Yeah, you're going to come race with me.
I'm not doing
the realistic
that again.
group.
Yeah.
All right, let's pick on the pros. Let's talk about the world of cycling and how the world cycling fared in 2023 and how it's going to fare in 2024. So some of these are pretty straightforward, and you have not been privy to these categories yet. So someday we got to come up like an end of the year award, like the Packies or something like that. The Packy Awards. In your personal opinion, let's start at the top. Male and female. Paul, who do you figure to be the best male and female cyclist of 2023?
Demi Vollering is. I just don't see right at this point in time. I mean, she had a hell of a season last season too. Yeah. I heard a little thing that. Annemiek van Vleuten in the Tour de Femme, when she lost on the Tourmalet, was out of control, swearing, upset. She wanted at least that.
Yeah.
You just can't stop Vollering. I think she's, at this point in time. Who knows? People have bad seasons, and I think it happened to Tade, so.
Yeah.
So the male, I would say Tade. I think.
You think so?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That guy's, yeah. He's my new hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like all about him. So.
I went with Demi Vollering, but I thought Mathieu van der Poel, that people forget, he won Milan-San Remo, he won Paris-Roubaix, and then he bookended with the World Championships.
It was impressive.
And he won the cross championships
he did.
in the same year. So I thought, what a year that guy had.
Tade's success rate was 34% of the races he raced, he won.
Flanders.
Well, and you think
classics,
and
then he
Flanders,
also
Lombardia
with Lombardia.
He won Flèche.
Yeah.
He won. I mean, he still podiumed. He did very well in even the races he didn't do well in.
Yeah.
The guy's fantastic.
Okay.
It's just amazing.
Best one-day race of the year that you were able to experience, to watch this year.
To watch
this year. Yeah.
I thought having Roubaix down here was great. I enjoyed that.
Oh, the watching experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what are you saying?
No, just overall, what the best performance, the best race, most exciting race you saw of the year. By the way, we will do we'll do Roubaix down here.
Yeah, man. I have to think about that one a little bit. There's so many races that at the time, up to a point where it's really good, and you watch somebody come back. And as much as I'm not a big Pidcock fan, what he did at Strada,
his Strada was unbelievable.
I mean, that was impressive. And then they were within 7 seconds, and I thought he's dead, and that's impressive. I think I think more so, maybe not the event, but the race, or how it was
the spectacle
won.
too.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I think the venue itself, like Strada, and even the way Tade in the Tour of Flanders, I mean, he put the sword to everyone.
Yeah.
And he knew he had to after E3, and he came down with Wout and Vanderpool.
Yeah.
He knew that when Flanders came,
He's
within 3 or 4 days,
alone.
I've got to attack on every hill and punch over the top, and that's what he did. And he attacked early and hard, and Vanderpool said, "Oh God, he was way over this." Yeah,
there were so many of those races this year, Lombardy, where he was cramping, where even the final climb in Milan San Remo, where it came down to just an absolute amazing group of riders going over the top of that. The World Championships I loved this year, so I had a hard time. But Flanders I thought was just a masterclass.
It was,
and in terms of that day, so I thought it was great. Best Grand Tour of 2023.
I would say, just for the narrative, had to be Vuelta.
Thank you.
That is, still to this day, I battle about what should have been done on that.
Yeah, I do too.
I as much as I'm glad it ended the way it is, but I don't know in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
You think about what was at stake with Jonas. Jonas would be the first double tour Grand Tour winner in a year.
Yeah.
In quite some time. And then you had Roglic, where he would be the first person to win 4 Vueltas.
Yeah.
So everybody was at stake.
Yeah.
And then we'd have the first American in 10 years to win. So what do you do?
And they're all on the same team.
Yeah.
And you've got to, for those of you who are, yelling at your devices while you're listening to this, you've got to understand that these people are paid to race their bikes as fast as they can. But they're also, you have to have, as I said earlier, an ego, a confidence, a this is my race to win. And some poor director sportif has got to rein that all in. It's not going to happen. And so what you've got is an absolute dominance. And was Sepp the best person on the road those days? I don't know. But when you saw the attacks going and Sepp getting dropped and things like that,
there's an argument
but
for every single
that's why
person.
cycling's a team sport too, and sometimes you sacrifice for the teammate, and so I agree. Definitely the best Grand Tour.
I'm going to toss one thing in. A lot of people don't remember, although it wasn't a Grand Tour, is Paris-Roubaix in '96, where Mape had 3 guys pull up. Yeah, and they're like, do we attack each? No, what do we do? We're rolling in. They had a huge lead, and Johan Museo says, I am the leader. I will win. This is one of those people like, what a prick. But no, he was the highest paid. Yeah. And he said the decision who's going to come second and third was a tough one, because whether it was Ballerini and Taffy, Andre Taffy. So Taffy would have been one of them had his girlfriend just got pregnant or just had a baby. The other one had a birthday.
And they're bringing this up. Come on,
they're
man.
like, well, man, And so they had to choose, and they were like kind of arguing, and then it took Museo to say, no, you're second and you're third. That's how we're coming across.
Wow.
So this is not the first time this has happened. Yeah. It's just it's a hard thing to do with teammates. Yeah.
How about the and I want to say worst. I don't want to use worst in this, but the most disappointing Grand Tour of the year. For example, I'll say I would almost say the Vuelta again, just because of the ugliness of the sport that it brought out, especially in a lot of us fans. But the ugliest moment of the Grand Tour season was not anybody's fault. It was me being so heartbroken that Geraint Thomas lost the pink jersey with 2 days to go. Yeah, in the Giro, and that was my
I could
most
see
disappointing.
That, but that's part of racing. I think I'm going to throw the Tour in there because it was such a great Tour up until the time trial. Yeah, and I think it's, although I'm reserving the fact that something's fishy going on, but when Jonas and the TT beat Tade by a minute 46, I'm like, all right, hang on here. Everybody was like, oh shit, here we go. Yeah. And then on the next hill, he just it blew this perfect, like, everybody, this is the greatest Tour, and then It's like a balloon. You know, and we sat for, what was it, 4 or 5 days. It's just like, all right, who's winning the stage?
Yeah.
So that's why I would pick that.
Across the board, my biggest letdown of the year, I'm going to say it. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to throw and this doesn't necessarily have to do with, well, it does have to do with racing, but it doesn't have to do with the actual riders or anything like that. My biggest disappointment of 2023 was the shutting down of GCN Plus.
I have to agree. That's still
losing. I'm still scrambling. I know that Max is going to create this all kinds of stuff, and as we talked about it on a previous show, you know, it's going to end up costing more. And I just want to say to the GCN people, I'd have gladly paid double for what you guys were offering. Thank you, sir. It was such a great joy, but and to be able to experience. I haven't watched any cyclocross this year.
I have. I watched it up till GCN the last one.
Until they shut down. Yeah,
and then I found a link on YouTube and watched today's.
Oh, you did.
Cross race. There was no commentary. It was just crowd and everything. But it's not the same.
Yeah,
it's not.
Best team of 2023.
Best team of 2023 has to go to Jumbo Visma. I mean, to pull off what they did.
Yeah,
that's historic.
Yeah, I sometimes wonder if Wout's on the right team.
I think he's fine. I think he's got a different agenda, and everybody wants to compare with Vanderpool. But I think that to me, Wout's a different. He's just completely different, and everybody wants to, match those two like they're mirror image. They race about everything.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, the completely different styles, and I don't think Matthew's not a team player, but I think Wout is way more of a team player.
Yeah.
He's willing. I mean, look with Christophe Laporte, what he did for him. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, I think he's a great addition to cycling. So.
How about the biggest team letdown? Like, oh man, I'm not happy, or they're jerks, or
it'd have to be Sedal Quick-Step. That those guys, they just didn't seem for the the wolf pack. Yeah, there was not too many wolves out there.
Yeah,
I think they just had a really bad year.
I'm gonna risk putting my neck on the chopping block, and I'm gonna say my biggest team letdown this year was domesticated. It was Legion of Los Angeles. The crit drama. Yeah. The crit drama. I especially after seeing who's the guy in Missoula. I can't remember his name. Jackson's going to yell at me.
No.
Anyway, one of the riders who's no longer going to ride for Legion. He's switched teams. But seeing people who are approachable, who are professional, and then understanding that tempers can get out of control and things like that. But all this crit drama, I wish these guys would race their bikes and turn off their mics to a certain extent, or have somebody proofread their tweets before they send them out. Just because it puts an ugly bullshit on this, and I'm not without guilt on that. I remember yelling at people in the middle of downtown bike races, and dropping F-bombs at people, So I am not without sin on this, but I'm also a guy who's not getting paid massive amounts, and and understanding the responsibilities that come with it.
I'm treading on ice, I'm sure, just because I think they have a certain privilege that people like about Legion. I think, and everybody wanted to see them succeed, and I think they had the right. To me, I think we both agree that they were pointed in the right direction, but I think. Yeah. I wouldn't put it under arrogance or anything, but I think the disappointment for me is I thought they were going to change, alter it, and lift up cycling. They did change. Yeah. They started lifting it and got people excited, but then the beef thing was too much. It's not the NBA. It's not MMA or USC.
Well, and the NBA and MMA have some very, very bad characters going on right
exactly
now, and so it's the same thing.
They're popular, and a lot of people want a villain, I guess. And I I'm not saying they had a plan to become the villains, but they did.
Yeah.
And in my opinion,
very good at what they do.
they are talented people.
Yeah. Incredibly good at what they do.
And I hopefully things will change. And maybe this is just an off year.
Yeah. Rider, you're going to miss the most.
I know everybody would probably think Pino, but I don't know. I'm kind of glad he's gone. I'm trying to think of somebody that left this year that really is like, what a bummer. Well, I'll tell you who it is Nathan Van Hooijdonk. I think it's
that was a
it was unfortunate that he was a great contributor to Jumbo-Visma, and to go out that way. And his uncle was one of my heroes back in the day, Edwig.
Yeah, Edwig. Yeah.
So.
I had a thought. If David was here, he'd be proud of me. Thinking Peter Sagan, and I don't mean this as to any way tarnish Peter Sagan. The past couple of years, I've been able to prepare myself for the end of Peter Sagan. He's up there, but he's not, he just didn't have that.
He was circling the drain.
He was that style of racing that was perfected. You can't do as you age, and so right. Two people speaking from experience. So it was going to be Peter Sagan, but then I do want to say that Annemiek van Vleuten, the way she finished out her career, what she was able to do last year, absolutely going out at the high end.
Yeah.
This year was a little bit more brutal to her, but I really liked how she chose to finish it all up. I wonder if Chris Froome's listening. Which team will have the best 2024? So what we're going to do
comparatively from last year or 2023?
What I'm going to allow you to do is I'm going to name off the teams in the World Tour, and you get to pick your top three who are going to have the best 2024. The choices are, first we're going to pick the top three for the Classics, then we're going to pick the top three for the Grand Tours, top three for surprises, and the top three likely to be missing in action. Okay. Are you comfortable enough with Women's World Tour teams?
Yeah.
Okay. I will list them quickly. AG Insurance, Soudal Quickstep, Canyon SRAM, Ceratizit, WNT, DSM, FDJ, Suez, Phoenix DeCoinic. By the way, if somebody's just turning into this, they're going to think I'm having a stroke. Human Powered Health, Lidl Trek, Liv Ayula, Jayco, Movistar, Roland, SD Works, Visma, Lisa Bike, UAE, and Uno X Mobility are the women's World Tour teams for 2024. If you had to pick the top three for the Classics of those teams, who would you pick?
SD Works. I'll just say all of it.
SD Works.
And so I'll work on the other two.
Yeah.
What's the FDJ one? I think they could be here in
Suez.
there.
Yeah, FDJ Suez. Yeah. By the way, I didn't. Why do I not have Education First on this list?
I don't know.
They have a full team.
Yes, they do.
I apologize. They were not on my list.
They're not going to be on mine.
They're not.
The other one will be Visma Lisa Bike.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't bet against the Dutch women. Anything that has a strong Dutch influence are going to be the only ones that are going to challenge SD Works.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't mean to simplify when it comes to the women's teams, but it seems like these teams are going to do it Classics, Grand Tours, surprises.
Yes.
They're just going to be very strong in all three of those.
Yep.
I agree with FDJ. I agree with, obviously, SD Works is at the top of that list. I don't know if they're going to be able to be toppled yet again.
Yeah.
They had such an amazing season.
I would like to see it be different.
Yeah.
But if I had to put my hard-earned money on it, that's how it would go.
All right, men's teams. Alpecin de Koenig, Arkea B&B Hotels. Depends on if, what's his name, gets to carry around the sword. Astana, Kazakhstan. Bahrain Victorious, Bora Hansgrohe with a brand new leader, Cofidis, Decathlon AG Dozeur, DSM, which we all agreed is a really bad looking kit. I don't know if you were here for that one.
Yeah. But, I was not here, but I've seen them.
Yeah. There's EF Education, Easy Post, Groupama FDJ, Ineos Grenadiers, which their jersey looks like half of them has been in a fire, Intermarché Wanty, Ayula, Lidl Trek, Movistar, Sudal Quickstep, Visma Lisa Bike, and UAE Team Emirates. Who are you going with for your top three in classics?
Classics, I think the focus for Wout to do well on those, I'm going to have to put Jumbo-Visma is going to do. They still have Laporte.
Yeah.
They have a strong classic team. I will not get rid of Sudal Quickstep. I think they had a crap year, but I think they're going to be doing some hard work on that. But they're certainly not second. And I think Lidl Trek is going to be their year in all disciplines.
I agree. They have gone from a retirement home for professional cyclists to a true top contender this year. I agree with all those. I would love to see some surprises again from EF Education, but
that's what they are. They're the Joker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're going to go with those on Grand Tours?
Grand Tours, obviously.
Ineos will not go quietly into the good night.
No, and I think they're kind of banking in the next couple of years. In my opinion, they've got some good young bucks. They got a good American coming in, young American and stuff. But Jumbo picked up, I think, the future star for Belgium. The very next Grand Tour winner for Belgium is going to be Utelbrooks, Keanu Utelbrooks.
Not Remco.
I don't see Remco. He'll probably he's going to be focusing on the Tour. He's not going to win the Tour.
Yeah.
I think then they're going to run that over again. There's going to be contract problems. He's going to leave the team. All that's going to just push the team.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jonas is getting long in the tooth within the next 2-3 years. Utelbrooks pretty much was on his own during the Vuelta. Apparently, if you look at that whole fiasco with Jumbo-Visma, that he was isolated and they had this secret, the Bora guys were making fun of.
Bora, yeah.
They were making fun of Utelbrooks in the background, and he was kind of an outcast, the land of misfit toys.
Yeah.
That's why he wanted to leave, so that's the rumor.
Nobody wants a Charlie in the box.
And nobody wants a Charlie in the box.
Squirt jelly.
I'm kind of along those lines. I think Ineos needed to find youth because they were relying upon what was working, and of course, because of massive crashes and things like that from riders over these last years, to see Bernal even back on his bike was wonderful, but those types of injuries are when you're talking less than 0.1% in terms of performance, it's you can't expect a miraculous return.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason because of the youth that they planned on or already had signed. That's why they carried a 2-year contract with Geraint. I mean, what's a better, example or leader for these young guys? So.
Yeah. No, I agree. Will Tade pull off a 2 Grand Tour win?
Absolutely.
Win?
Both.
You think he's going to win the Giro and the Tour?
And I think he's going to win the Worlds.
You heard it here first, everybody.
Yep.
You do.
I think he's going to do. I think because I started looking.
Freaking amazing that would be.
It would be absolutely. I think if anybody can do it, I think he set his program up, and that is his focus. There's no high mountains in the Giro. It's fairly flat comparatively. It's his type of climb, so I think the Giro is okay.
Yeah.
I think Jumbo-Visma in the Tour is a little bit hampered because they don't have in the flats. They have a lot of good climbers. But in the flats, they're going to be suffering a little bit. They don't have Van Hooijdonk. During the Tour, they will not have Van Aert. He's not going to come to the Tour. He's doing the Giro.
Yeah, in the Olympics.
In the Olympics. So you've got a little hole in that. People can, a little exposure that could do it. So I think the potential of winning that, and I think his desire. You got to remember, Tade broke his wrist at LBL, and that's towards second to last week of May, so you had, what is it, like a month and a half to get ready, and he couldn't do anything.
Heal a broken wrist, yeah, exactly.
He couldn't do anything for 2 weeks. So,
oh my God, that would be.
And he'd be the first person outside of Merckx and 1987 Roach to win the Giro, the Tour, and the Worlds. I think he can do it, and I'll say it today. Yeah.
Okay, that makes me kind of excited. I'm a little flustered. I'm a little glad I don't have my white shorts on. Will Cavendish get the elusive stage win? The Tour's route is evil.
It's not.
It is not a sprinter's tour.
No.
This is going to have to be an opportunist moment.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a lead out. Now, he does have Michael Morkow, one of the greatest in the business. They're building a lead out train around him. Wow. I mean, first of all, do you think he can do it?
I think there is a potential there because they're working. That's obviously they're putting a lot of effort in it. They don't have a GC guy or anything.
No.
God, it's been a while since I look at the Tour parcours, but I think it's like stage 4 or 5 before there's a true sprint stage.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could be all he needs. All he has to do is make the time cut off, right?
Yeah.
And it's done. But I don't. I kind of hope so.
Yeah.
I love Merckx, but this is our time now. I wasn't around to watch Merckx do it.
Yeah.
But
and I'm also to the point where I'm kind of tired of people being, well, Merckx did it on the mountains and he did it on this and he did it on that, and I'm like, that's great, I understand that. Just relax, let the guy get the stage number. I mean, that's a cool achievement to obtain. Eddie Merckx isn't going to lose any sleep over it. Well, he might, but
I don't think he's that type
Eddie's
of guy.
going to be like, come on, man,
it's bound to happen.
Yeah. So I would love to see it happen. So what a way to go out. So you already picked your tour winner.
Yeah, Toddy.
I'm not going to pick one because I just want to go with that. I just don't want to jinx it. I want that to be how it really happens. Because I think the guy's cool. Matt Stevens, like you said, with that cafe ride, it was really cool to see the just
he's
how
so
approachable he
down to earth.
is. Yeah, he's just a normal dude. He's normal dude. But I would love to see that happen. So I'll go with it. I'll pick it. I'll pick him. No, I won't because I'll jinx him. So if I pick him, it'll go wrong.
Yeah.
Primoz Roglic is going to win the Tour de France. Where's my guess he won't keep the wheels down. Anything to hope for from the Americans for 2024? Nelson Paulus, Matteo Jorgensen, Brandon McNulty, Sepp Kuss, Quinn Simmons.
I think we'll see, like in this stage, anything in classics, I just don't see. But I think, like Matteo Jorgensen, he's going to be, he's on Visma.
Yeah.
Visma Lisa
Lisa bike. Yeah.
He's going to have a duty. So he's.
Yeah.
I said duty.
I laugh.
So yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to see more in the future of American cycling, but
yeah,
I see Sepp doing anything. He might be doing the Vuelta as the leader,
which would be really cool to see him have that opportunity to come back and do that. And again, from what I understand, a really cool person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's hard to root against somebody like that.
Yep.
Who's just the consummate professional and a really good overall guy. So I'd love to see something like that. Nelson Paulus did some really cool things. He's won a San Sebastian, but I don't know. It'll be hard to see, with the team and with what they're able to back him up and do those kinds of things. Quinn Simmons, with all the wrongs of his past, I think I have a clean slate with the guy now. I realize that people have to grow up. And personally, I'm like, okay, dude, let's. I want to give him another chance.
Yeah.
I want to see him when he has good rides in races like Strada Bianca. I'd love to, it'd be cool to see him do something like that.
Yeah.
And give the guy a chance to redeem.
I don't know if you read some of the stuff. I think he's a little bit frustrated with not being as successful as he has, what he thought he was going to be. And
Sure.
I think last year was a big pressure point. If I recall, he was kind of like thinking maybe this is not what I need to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So,
Oh, boy.
whether he was going to take a different direction, like even a privateer, or something like that. But I don't know. I'm probably adding words to it, but I think that he is a little bit frustrated because I thought it was going to be coming a little easier for him than it is. I think he's talented. He is talented.
let's pull the camera farther back. Let's pick on the industry. And I know this is your wheelhouse. What did the bike industry do well in 2023, in your opinion?
That's a hard one.
Yeah. Diva's going to be contacting me on this.
Yeah.
Too much. It is a hard one because coming out of COVID, with all the bike sales and everything like that, we ran into the slight supply restraint issues, where things were just impossible to obtain anymore. And it's hard to say that the bike industry really did anything other than just trying to keep their heads above the water over this last year. There were not a lot of huge innovations. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. There, in terms of road bikes, were there? I mean,
I don't think so. I think we're in a
coming
transition
out with shifting and things like that.
And I think we're at a point where saturation hits. We went through an aero craze, and I think we're kind of getting to the point where all of a sudden people, okay, you can only get so aero, and if you get really aero, the bike rides like shit if you're riding rough roads.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we're chip seal and rough roads in Spokane, and an aero bike is, especially the older you get. I think I don't really blame the industry. A lot of people want to point at the industry. They were greedy, and that's why they're failing like they are. But I think the failure was more on thinking, and I really believe this during COVID, where everybody's running to bikes, that wave would continue on. I think their failure is not adapting to that, saying, hey, instead of putting production and creating something that was unattainable, the focus was on expensive and high end and on all levels, not just road. I'm thinking gravel,
absolutely,
and mountain bikes, and to the point where even in mountain bike, you got to have people have a trail bike, you have a downhill bike, you have there was an enduro, there was and the big thing we all laughed about is it's N+1, but and I tell you, when I go from house to house and I see people that ride bikes, I'm excited and I want to talk to them. And even if they're not road bikes, because they're passionate about cycling, it's like, I bought this hardtail, and that's where I'm finding myself riding more. I think that's what's happened, is that the industry got a little greedy, in my opinion, in creating the gravel scene, which is a good positive thing. But think about the generations of how the gravel came out, and it was basically a cross bike, and then they did this wacky stuff. People like the 666 or something, like 66-degree head tube angle, and they're trying to throw suspension. Do you really need suspension? It depends on what kind of gravel. Now they're trying to get so people buy several different types of gravel bikes, and then gravel gruppos, which most people run mountain bike stuff on the rear derailleur and road on the other part, which functions fine. So there really was no need, but they spent all these resources. That's where I think they failed.
And we're running into, for all the people who are like, all bikes can go everywhere. And I did a post on that the other day. I was just, because I watch videos of people riding gravel bikes over what I always considered mountain bike trails. And I understand you can ride them.
Yeah.
It's not the most efficient bike in that situation. A lot of this, my wife and I joke about it. We're watching this, we're going, they're all riding mountain bike trails. And why aren't they on a mountain bike? Oh, because it's Spirit of Gravel or something like that.
Yeah, and I think some people like the challenge.
Yeah.
So, mountain bikes, I think in a way...
Speed, efficiency, and comfort, though, it's not the right bike for that situation.
No, it is not.
You're on your bike.
It is ridiculous. If you want to go fast and efficient, that's not the bike to choose.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for those people like challenges, with Tom Ritchie and Gary Fisher and Joe Breeze taking a cruiser and putting road bike parts on there and going down Marin, riding in Marin County, that's how mountain bikes got started. Yeah. They like that challenge. So, I commend him for that, but don't tell me that gravel bike is the quiver killer, because that's not the choice for that particular one, and it is not a choice for the road, and it's not... it's good for like summer roads, I would say, that we have around here for farmers use it.
Can it ride the road? Yeah, absolutely it can. But it's not the best choice. And
No.
and so again, it's almost like we're complimenting the industry for creating all these different bikes. And then you're running into this situation, as you're saying, where I've got to have a quiver of 8 bikes in my house to be able to compete. If you're competing, we're talking about that. If you're not, if you're just going out to ride, you can have a quiver killer. You can have one bike where you can ride everywhere. But and I also think that the bike industry got it wrong with the kind of abolishing some of the mid-range options to be able to, instead of shoving down, as you say, disc brakes down our throat, we're being forced with this lack of options, and it's, as you're saying, it's hard to keep a rim brake bike alive anymore because it just doesn't work. I mean, you can't find the parts. You have to hoard brake pads because they're just not going to be made anymore. And that is really a shame. And also when we're talking about the sport of cycling being grassroots and the price point, it's impossible for people who want to get involved in the sport to be able to do it because you're talking about such a heavy commitment, a heavy financial commitment.
Well, and I see that in other industries too, being in the electrical field. I think sometimes, it's about money. It boils down to the bike industry saw a liability with rim brakes, clincher rim brakes being delaminated, and then the aero craze. You can't get these cables to function if you're trying to hide these cables and sell people on hiding all these cables. Yeah, it's not going to work. The best thing was disc brakes, and the best thing for carbon fiber rims is disc brakes. But that doesn't get. I like the option, but the thing is you're not profitable if you make 5-6 different. The production is they're trying to force it. You can't find a fitted baseball hat, and if you do, it's going to cost you money. You got the little snap, and I've got a pinhead. So even by the time I was in high school, I had this, plastic tab that stuck out to the right.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I'm on the last buckle, the last button, because I'm a fathead. Yeah,
and that's just all industries are guilty of that, and it's all about profitability. But I think cycling, unfortunately, is not big enough to be able to have that luxury.
Shit.
And that's why I think they got kind of bit in the butt a little bit.
Will gravel continue to be the most popular kid in school in terms of cycling, especially domestically?
I think for a while, it will. I think it's, to my opinion, it's tabled off a little bit. I think we'll see it trickling down. It was all the rage without a doubt. I think it's a positive thing for people to get out and ride their bikes to feel safe riding on gravel roads. Yeah. At least around here. I don't blame that, but as in being the backbone of the industry, I don't think so. And I don't think road is either.
No, exactly. That my next question was going to be is how can road plan some sort of return to any type of glory days or just even, piece of the pie, especially here.
I think that's I think, in my opinion, if I look at how, especially Belgium, how they bring their kids up, those kids are riding like straight arm bar bikes that they're racing at age 6, 8, 9, 10 years old. Yeah. And then they have these, 650B size wheels and they're racing that. And then everybody's into cross or mountain bike. Those are the type of things that road racing needs to help if they want and develop these kids and those who want to go faster. And I just watched GCN show and just a show that they've had from the get-go. And they're talking about the difference between like Simon Richards was saying. He's like, he did all these gravel rides, and then he got on his road bike, and he's like, Jesus, this is fast. Yeah. And exciting and accelerating. And not everybody who goes from gravel is going to want that. But you may get, 1%, 2%, 3% that's going to help grow that number for road if you do that. And cyclocross, the same thing. Look at the two greatest cyclocross since they were 13 years old are road racers, too. Yeah. And one's a mountain biker, too. I think that's if road racing UCI and stuff needs to tap into that stuff and encourage
support it.
Yep,
encourage
absolutely.
it, and then hope there's that trickle down element.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a gateway drug.
Yeah. It's first one's free.
Yep.
And there also needs to be some sort of incentive on the, I don't want to say governmental level, but the level in terms of encouraging and finding ways to get people to promote and put on their own events.
Yeah.
And making it simplified, streamlining the entire process.
It's too complicated.
When I hear from people who are trying to figure out all this stuff, and with the race that my friend and I are putting on, the 24-hour mountain bike race, if it wasn't for him, I've realized that I might not be the type of person to do this type of things, because the details of registration, of categorization, of all these types of things, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I can see how race promoters who are like, we should just put on a little business park crit, just get terrified of it. You start to you reach out to an organizational body, and it turns into this. Well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to get your permit, you got to do blah, 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 you got to do hay bales.
X amount of dollars for insurance and blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
It's like, oh my God, you got to have your rental numbers, all this, everything. Yeah. It's just like, holy shit. There's got to be an easier way. It's almost like we need to go back in time and just, but we can't. We can't go back in time.
You can't.
Because the liability issues are just too large, and I think it's going to fuck us up. And I hope it doesn't, but I think it is. Speaking of going back in time, let's have some fun with some of our final questions. I got two final Ks. The first one is, and I said this earlier and I remembered it, and I was thinking of this. I didn't put it in my show notes. I was like going, this would be fun since we got the two old guys here to pick the best classics and road rider of the decades from 70s to today. So if you had to pick a rider, and I think we're going to probably agree on a lot of this, but that we couldn't have the young people in here because David doesn't even know who's in the pro peloton tomorrow, and Sam and Jackson are just too young that they didn't realize that, for example, Roger de Vlaeminck had the best sideburns in the world.
Oh, without a doubt.
And just respect the burns.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go farther back into the time, but I thought we'd start at the 70s. The 70s, if you had to pick a classics rider and a road rider, and I'm sorry for the women
road
out there.
Being like all around?
Classics and Grand Tours.
Classics
Grand Tours.
Okay.
Sorry. Classics and Grand Tours. Who would be your classics pick for the 1970s?
Roger de Vlaeminck, you mentioned with the burns.
Yeah.
I think he raced, of all his Paris-Roubaix, he won 4. I think only once he was not out of the top 10.
Yeah.
He was on the podium, I can't remember how many times, like, I wish this mountain was here. He's going to be screaming.
We need the
He'd
stat
say,
man here. Yeah.
There's like 6 times he was on the podium. The guy was phenomenal. Now that he won, he's won every monument. He's won stages in the tour, but that doesn't count. Just for that, he's won, I think, pretty much almost every classic. So,
see, because my knowledge of the 70s isn't as expansive as yours, because I immediately went Merckx for both.
Yeah, Merckx Grand Tours without a doubt.
Yeah.
5 Giros, 5 tours, and then 2 Vueltas. And mind you, the Vuelta was in April at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
So you had April Vuelta, May Giro, and then Tour
July.
in June.
Yeah.
June, July, yeah.
June, July, yeah. 1980s classics and Grand Tours. And I see where you go with
classics, I'm trying to think.
You're hesitating on the classics?
Yeah. Mosier came in and we won 3 Paris-Roubaix in a row, and I'm trying to think. Henny Kuiper did a pretty good job there, but he was Dutch. So
80s, you're not going to throw Sean Kelly into this.
Sean was pretty good. I think I would have to agree. Sean, what he won 2. He never won Flanders, but he won 2 Roubaix.
Yeah.
I don't know if he won the LBL. I think he did. Yeah. He did pretty good.
I would lean towards Sean Kelly.
Sean
Tour rider of the 80s.
Without a doubt, Bernardino.
Thank you.
I mean, I think he podiumed every Grand Tour he was in.
Yeah. And
that's phenomenal.
and there were years he did the double and
Yeah.
won the Giro Tour double.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's absolutely. The 1990s.
Classic would go to Johan Museo.
Yep. I'm gonna go with that. Because that's no.
Three Roubaix. Well, he kind of went in the 2000s to get his Roubaix.
He did. Yeah.
But early 2000s. And that was late in the 90s. But there was a lot of. You think about, of course, when I think classics, it's always Flanders and Roubaix is like the highlights. But that's 3 Flanders is that's huge.
Yeah.
No one's won more than 3 anyway.
Yeah.
So.
We're at 90s, right? Tour
90s.
rider of the 90s.
Miguel Indurain.
I was going to say it's got to be Miguel Indurain because
2 times
he has won
double.
Yeah, I was going to say he's won 2 Giros
and two
5 Grand and 5 France.
Yeah, and so he had 2 times that he won.
Yeah.
Did the double.
Sorry, Greg.
Yeah, Greg.
You got
just
shot.
Well, I mean,
Greg was 80s, more 80s. He not the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Greg he focused on the tour. That was what it was all about.
Yeah. 2000s, and yes, we can mention He Who Shall Not Be Named.
So, and when
Classics
it came to
first.
classics, it's a tight close, but I'm getting it Tombonen.
Oh, I was going to say
Yeah.
Tombonen.
Yeah. Tombonen.
Okay. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Cancellara was there. But
Absolutely.
Cancellara kind of crossed over. His greatness was in the 2000s. But
Yeah.
I mean, Tom, his first pro with he was with U.S. Postal and he got second or third in Paris-Roubaix
And he was gone.
See you guys.
Grand Tour for the
90s. Yeah, I would have to go with the evil one. I mean,
Yeah.
he had it dialed and everybody was on the same program.
Yeah.
His mistake is he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that is
towards
that is the
people.
problem. Yeah.
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 And the people he liked, people like. I mean, if he liked you, you're in good and you like the guy.
Yeah.
But the problem is if you crossed him, God.
It's that Texan mentality.
Yeah.
No, it worked for him.
Yeah. For a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's still working for him. We in 2000s? No.
2010s.
2010s. 2010s.
2010s. Classics. We still have Fabian Cancellara is in the early part.
See, this
Sagan,
is the one I had a hard
Sagan.
time.
I'll have to put Sagan in there because he won three or four Ghent Velligums, a Flanders, and a Roubaix.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
That's I was trying to, that was the one I was having a hard time with.
Yeah.
And then with Grand Tours, you got to go with Chris Froome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can't.
Just because what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then current decade, who's
Tade.
leading the charge?
Tade.
Tade for across both?
Well, I think classics, as much as I've learned to really hate Vanderpool because he made a comment to the press saying that road cycling is overrated. The guy is dead to me.
That's why you are okay.
He is dead to me.
And he's sporting a mullet these days.
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
It's not pretty.
But that aside, you just don't disrespect the one that got you really notoriety.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, that's road cycling.
Turned you into a billionaire.
But
yeah,
Tade's done. I mean, because a lot of people don't. I mean, Liège and Lombardia twice now, and gosh, I mean, he still hasn't won Milan San Remo. So but it's only a matter of
fun to
time.
watch ride a bike. He's really fun to watch ride a bike.
Tade definitely still. I think he's always there. His kill rate is high. He's for tours and whatever he does, he's always there.
Yeah,
always there. In the Worlds, he got a bronze,
yeah.
and he said, at Worlds, he said that race was 2 laps too long for me.
His goal. Somebody asked him earlier this year, "What's your biggest priority, the Giro or the Tour?" And he said, "Worlds."
Yeah.
You
watch
what
it.
he wants to be.
You
Last question. What are you going to do for New Year's Eve? What do 2 old guys do for New Year's Eve? What are you planning?
Believe it or not, I'm with my in-laws.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they're going to be taking a nap. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll probably say it's a new year by 8:00.
Yeah.
It's more up our
Watch the
street,
East
so.
Coast feed.
Yeah.
At the most.
Exactly. Yeah. So we planned on that, and as I mentioned earlier, my father-in-law is not doing so well, but he's 93, so let's ring in the new year with the. He's a great old man. He's a great guy. Cool. So yeah, that's
really cool. We do nothing. My wife and I do nothing. Oh, really? I think we're gonna watch Anderson Cooper and what's his name on CNN because they drink and they get drunk and they laugh.
That's
and
fun.
They have a fun time. And my wife falls asleep on the couch and I stay up to midnight and then at 12:02 I'm in bed. That's really a pitiful way to end the show and to end the year.
How about New Year's Day? What are you gonna do?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Because we used to have this tradition of even if it wasn't with a group. And even if we had 6 inches of snow, you went out and at least pedaled your bike around the block.
Yep.
I want to bring that tradition back.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Layer up, pulling on a shit ton of clothes, and go as far as you can.
Yeah, even if it has to be my commuter bike because of the conditions, I don't care. Yeah. We're riding shit, just for giggles and shit.
I used to have an old mountain bike down here that had studded snow tires, and I would take that out, even if it was just 3 miles.
Sure.
Yeah, I got to do that. I think that's a cleanse. It's start the new year with a great start. So for everybody out there, first of all, let us know what you want to hear from the show in 2024. I'd love to hear your suggestions. Like to hear you to like, subscribe, especially to the YouTube channel. To subscribe to that. Subscribe to our the show on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you get through. But let us know what your plans are for New Year's Day. Send me a picture of you out there riding. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Go. And to all the young little whippersnappers who couldn't make it, they just had to,
bedwetting babies.
Yeah, little punks, or Sam would say, little bitches. I guess we didn't finish the year with a full cast. I think the last time we had a full cast was November.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Not. No, you were sick, Paul.
Yeah, I was sick one of the two, but I did go to a couple of basketball games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
You're a prick too.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will catch you guys in 2024.
Outro.
Oh, thank you.
Come on.
I got to play the outro of all the wonderful outros.
This isn't the outro.
It says end. Which one do you want? Do you want this one? Or this one?
There we go.
That one with the static in the background?
Yeah, you could just step people down.
Oh, it's like
this is it.
Okay.
End of the year.
We got another minute of it.
We can just fade to black.
Yes, but maybe I'll try and let me see if I can do this. Yes, I'm pulling back the curtains here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. I think outro. I can fast forward it too, but because at the end there's the au revoir.
On this one?
Yeah.
Sweet. So this is like, just not to tell you how to run your show because you do a way better job than I would ever. But this would be something that's some anecdotal thing right before au revoir. You would say blah 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 blah, and it's like keep the rubber stamps down.
The problem.
Some kind of catchphrase.
I forgot to hit it. So
or something like
if where I can just drag it to the end and then just say,
"Shut the fuck up, Sam," or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, it didn't do it.
See?
Au revoir.